An epic, emotional, or downright awesome death scene can seriously elevate what came before and be something players won't ever forget. Unfortunately though, sometimes that's just not the case, leaving fans underwhelmed, pissed off, or otherwise baffled by what they saw. Sometimes, all three. Whatever happened, I'm Scott from WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 video game deaths that should have hit hard, but didn't. Lunafreya Nox Fleuret, Final Fantasy 15. The death of Lunafreya in Final Fantasy 15 is supposed to be one of the game's grand emotional high points. After being gravely wounded by Arden, she survives just long enough to help Noctis defeat Leviathan. Yet, even though Lunafreya is one of the game's central characters and her death occurs during a gorgeous FMV sequence, it falls oddly flat because we've had so few direct interactions with her before this. Luna's screen time is strangely limited leading to her death, ensuring that if Square Enix was trying to deliver another Aerith tier moment here, they resolutely failed because players simply didn't have that firmly established bond with her. She felt more like a plot device than a flesh and blood character, to be honest. It doesn't help that Lunafreya's death itself happens strangely abruptly, and little time is afforded for both Noctis and players to mourn her, at which point you might end up thinking, if the game doesn't care, why should I? John Soap McTavish, Modern Warfare 3, 2023. The death of fan-favorite teammate Soap McTavish in 2011's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is one of the series' most emotionally devastating moments, and so when it happened again in the recently rebooted Modern Warfare series, it had one hell of a legacy to live up to. Soap's second demise in 2023's generally disappointing COD Modern Warfare 3 though left the fanbase positively irate in all the wrong ways. Soap is just unceremoniously shot in the head by Makarov at the very end of the game, after which the rest of the team seems to barely react with any emotion at all. This is followed by a brief cinematic sequence where Price and co scatter Soap's ashes in Scotland, yet the entire matter of Soap's death feels so maddeningly rushed that it makes virtually no emotional impact whatsoever. Considering Soap was one of the best characters in the reboot franchise, Activision did him insanely dirty with such a naff death scene. Number 8. Cole Phelps, L.A. Noire. L.A. Noire's ending was nothing if not in the bleak tradition of the film noir genre, but it fell short of its upsetting potential. At the very end of the game, protagonist Cole Phelps is suddenly killed in the final mission while helping Jack Kelso and Elsa Lichtman escape a flooding sewer, where he's swept away to his death. Cole technically dies a hero, but his entire character arc feels incredibly hurried in the final few hours. After Cole is demoted to the arson unit once his extramarital affair with Elsa comes to light, players take control of PI Jack Kelso, meaning we're not even playing as Cole in the climax. This and the seemingly not clear-cut nature of Cole's death left some fans expecting him to resurface at the very end, but true to the genre, he is indeed genuinely dead, all while those who set his death in motion appear to get away with it. It's a death undeniably steeped in tragedy, but it's also painfully clear that the third act of L.A. Noire suffered from rushed development, making it all feel very messy and incomplete. Nyreen Kandros, Mass Effect 3, Omega. Nyreen Kandros was introduced in Mass Effect 3's Omega DLC, with the Turian biotic quickly becoming a breakout character despite her limited screen time. Players en masse were left absolutely fuming though by her head-scratcher of a sacrificial demise near the end of the story. Rather than feel like an earned payoff, it came as a cheap way to swiftly nudge her out of the frame so that BioWare didn't need to make her an actual squad mate or explain her absence anywhere else. During the DLC's climactic assault on Cerberus's command center, Nyreen lures a group of adjutants to her position and then detonates a belt of grenades while deploying a biotic field to contain the explosion, albeit at the cost of her life. Kandros' death rang totally false because it seemed like such a forced sacrifice and a downright lazy way to write her out of the story. Was there really nothing else she could have done to dispatch these enemies? I mean, of course there was. Alex Weiss, Tomb Raider 2013. One of the more likable supporting characters in 2013's Tomb Raider reboot was Alex Weiss, the comic relief techie who clearly had a massive crush on Lara. Later in the game, Alex volunteers to find the tools needed to repair the team's escape boat, and while Alex does get them, a giant pipe then falls on him, leaving him helplessly pinned to the ground. Lara finds him and attempts to help, but it's no use, and with the pair also being fired upon, he urges Lara to take the tools and save the others. Ms. Croft reluctantly complies, but not before giving Alex a kiss on the cheek. This is such a soppy cliche of a sacrificial death though that it veers dangerously close to accidental parody, and the fact that the guy died for the sake of a mere wrench and screwdriver just makes it all the more deflating. Alex deserved so much better. Morpheus, The Matrix Online. To be completely fair to the Wachowskis, they've always maintained that 2005's MMORPG The Matrix Online is canon to the world of the Matrix movies, that it wasn't just some frivolous spin-off trying to cash in on the franchise's lucrative branding. So fans were shocked when the game's story saw fan-favorite character Morpheus gunned down by a rogue program called the Assassin. Though many initially assumed that Morpheus wasn't really dead and had found a way to escape this fate, he indeed stayed dead for the entirety of The Matrix Online's existence. But between how unceremoniously Morpheus was gunned down and the fact The Matrix Online just didn't really penetrate into wider pop culture, it wasn't something that most people took very seriously, even though the Wachowskis insisted it was 100% canon. Considering how beloved Morpheus was in the Matrix movies, this should have been absolutely gutting. Yet, beyond the diehards who fully bought into the world of the game, it was met with a bit of a shoulder shrug, like, I'm sure he'll be back. Maya. Borderlands 3. Maya's death in Borderlands 3 definitely made fans feel something, but almost certainly not what developers Gearbox intended. Maya was introduced in Borderlands 2 as a playable siren, and remains a firm fan favorite Vault Hunter, ensuring that her resoundingly lousy death in the third game left a huge sour taste. Maya bites it after the Calypso twins overpower her apprentice Ava, causing her to intervene, only for Troy Calypso to suddenly drain her life force and powers away, causing her to disintegrate into nothing. This one peed off players en masse for a few reasons. First off, Maya was a siren. She could have easily restrained Troy from afar rather than making physical contact with him, in turn allowing him to drain her. And then there's the fact that this just felt like classic fridging, that is, killing Maya off to further the development of another character, in this case Ava. It felt like somebody high up mandated that Maya had to die for some reason, but nobody could come up with a compelling way for it to happen, so we ended up with this. Lenny Summers. Red Dead Redemption 2. Lenny is undeniably one of the best loved characters in Red Dead 2, and so his death scene later in the game should have been positively traumatizing for players. Rockstar, though, seemingly by design decided to give Lenny a strangely anticlimactic death, where he's suddenly gunned down by Pinkerton riflemen during the Saint-Denis bank heist. Generally speaking, major characters die in cutscenes in video games, ensuring that their demise is sufficiently lingered upon for maximum emotional impact. But here, Lenny is shot dead right in the middle of gameplay. He gets no last words, and because Arthur is himself still trying to escape the authorities, he simply has to keep running past Lenny's corpse. The fact that gameplay forces you to holster your gun until Lenny has been shot only makes it that much more agonizing, because of course players have tried in vain to find a way to save him. Again, this was all clearly an intentionally abrupt death on behalf of Rockstar, but it comes so thick and fast that many players were simply left feeling that Lenny deserved a more heroic theatrical end to his life. Reggie Rowe. Infamous Second Son. The most pivotal story moment in Infamous Second Son occurs late in the game, when protagonist Delsin Rowe's brother Reggie is killed by the villainous Brooke Augustine. After Augustine encases his feet in concrete and leaves him dangling off a platform, Reggie realizes that Delsin will likely die trying to save him, and willingly lets go of his hand, falling to his death. Now, how effective this scene is really depends on which version of the story you're playing. If you play the good karma route, then listening to Reggie tell Delsin that he's proud of him moments before letting go is pretty damn effective. Problems arise, though, if you go the evil karma path, which can be achieved by killing enemies rather than apprehending them, randomly murdering civilians, and basically being an all-round a-hole to anyone you meet. Sucker Punch did sell the game as offering serious narrative divergences depending on your behavior, so when Reggie dies, he'll still say, "I'm so proud of you," regardless of what you do. If you played the game as a homicidal, superpowered maniac, though, it's basically impossible not to laugh out loud as Reggie expresses pride of your actions, entirely undermining any emotional resonance the scene is trying to muster. This could have been easily fixed by simply having Reggie say a different line, maybe one that encourages Delsin to be better, but instead we're left with a departing line that rings totally hilariously false, ruining the entire moment. Lucien Fairfax. Fable 2. Fable 2 did a fantastic job of making players utterly loathe the villainous Lord Lucien Fairfax, considering that the guy murders the player character's sister Rose and then plots to destroy the world with an ancient structure called the Spire. Players couldn't wait to kill him at the end of the game in an epic boss fight, only for Lucien's demise to actually be strangely empty and unsatisfying. In the final confrontation with Lucien, he monologues for a while before you're prompted to whip your gun out and kill him with just the press of a button. That's it. If you don't actually get your gun out, your friend Reaver will do the deed instead, pulling out his own weapon and taking Lucien down. Either way, it's a baffling non-event of a death scene, and considering that Lucien's death could have been a cathartic moment for vengeful players, you can't help but feel like it's a massive missed opportunity. Sure, you can generously argue that Lionhead made Lucien's death intentionally mundane in order to pass comment on the hollowness of revenge, but come on, who actually believes that was what they were trying to do? It just felt lame. So clearly various different deaths have not hit as hard as they could have. Let me know your favorites down in the comments below. Were there any that we missed? Also, speaking of things that should have gone another way, check out the video that's on screen. Every Game of the Year award winner and what should have won. This is one of our more long form videos where every presenter got involved, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. For now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com, and I'll catch you soon.